Now with SAM, you can write a tool that allows the user to click on the thing in the picture. It'll draw the outline, a mask. And then if you want to subtract things, you can. And so if you wanted to train a model on dresses, you could take pictures of fashion models or people on the streets, select the person, and then you can like deselect the hands and the face and the feet because you don't want that, you want just the dress.
Welcome to Practical AI, everybody. My name is Jeff. I'm with Peter Lynn. This is season 2 of Practical AI, and we are sponsored by Pocket AI, a tool used to perform surgery on your models to make them better. While everyone today is talking about RAG and refinement, Pocket AI allows you to edit the weights in your model directly. We got a topic that hit the wire this week, and it's about Meta's SAM model, I think. Peter, tell us what this tool is and why it's cool and why we should all be interested in it.
Yeah, so SAM stands for Segment Anything Model, and this is version 2. Previously, Meta released a version, I think it was last year, year before. So this is version 2, which is faster, better, and it's cool for a couple of reasons. As one, when computer vision first started, it was just able to recognize things in pictures. So it was basically the old MNIST test, which was handwritten digits. But that's not really all that useful for most cases. The evolution then moved on to like, well, let's identify objects in a picture. And so that's called classification or segmentation. So the originally, because of models and processing power, we just drew boxes around things like here's a ball, here's a cup, here's a dish, right? But the downside is when you just draw a box around it, you have more information than you need, and a lot of it is noisy. So the step after that is you draw exactly what the thing is in the picture that you want. So if you're trying to train a model to detect a chair, you trace the chair exactly. If you're training for a car, you trace the car. And so that's called a mask. And that comes from like Adobe Photoshop and other kind of graphic tools.
Well, in a way, aren't we masking right here, right? I mean, we've got a
Exactly.
clouded background
Yes,
and we're kind of framed or outlined in the image, right?
exactly. So this is it's exactly this. Zoom and Teams and all the kind of video conference tools do this masking thing of like, here's a person, let's blur everything out, or we put a background, right? So this is like everyone uses this, but you don't really realize that this is actually kind of in the AI class of tools. So the old way was you would actually just write an algorithm that would figure it out. And the old way was they would look at multiple frames to figure out what changed and what didn't. And it's very simple, right? Because like your background isn't going to change, but the human or the person in the image is going to move. And so you can track what pixels have moved or changed. And so that gives you a way to draw or trace around the subject. What SAM does is they train it on images and video so that it can do really sophisticated masking.
And then what does that allow the user to do differently than the old technology?
So the great thing about that is in the old days when we just drew boxes around stuff like that, one, it was kind of slow, and two, it wasn't very good. Now with SAM, you could write a tool that allows the user to click on the thing in the picture. It'll draw the outline, a mask. And then if you want to subtract things, you can. And so if you wanted to train a model on dresses, you could take pictures of fashion models or people on the streets, select the person, and then you can like deselect the hands and the face and the feet because you don't want that, you want just the dress. And so before, when you had to do that, a human being actually went in and then actually manually drew the outline, which is kind of it's tedious and it's slow, and it might take you for simple things, it might be a few minutes. For a complicated thing like a dress or a costume, it might take you 20 to 30 minutes. Whereas now you just click and it's done.
Okay, so if I have like an editing tool for images or for videos, this SAM product would integrate with that either through an API or some sort of code.
Yep.
And you continue to use Photoshop, for example, to do my edits in some way
Yep.
and much more easily isolate the things that I'm trying to work with or whatever, and then continue to, edit and create some sort of new product or something like that.
Yep. Exactly. So it makes it easier now to build tools to do masking, right? Because like if you look at movies, take for example, was that Deadpool and Wolverine just came out, right? So like in the old days, you had armies of like computer graphics people do all this like manual work to do a lot of like this complex stuff. And to make it easier, they have, green screens and make the actors wear a blue suit with dots all over.
Yeah.
Right. So, and all of that was just to make it so that the graphics person that's doing the special effects doesn't have to do a lot of extra, like nonsensical, tedious work of like figuring out what's the outline. But even then, there are still times where the special effects people have to go in and manually correct things because it doesn't like maybe especially one thing is like hair. Hair is really hard for CGI because if you crop off the hair, it looks kind of weird. It looks like a wig, right? Because like human hair has a lot of fine detail. And so if you want beautiful flowing hair in your movie, um, oftentimes all these tools have to decide like, okay, we're gonna crop it off about this level, but then you get weird artifacting where it looks unnatural.
Okay, so a part of this announcement too that Meta came out with Sam is has to do with Apache. So
Yeah.
explain the benefits or how this is going to work in sort of the crowd as the crowd gets a hold of this. What does Apache have to do with this and how is this unique?
So the difference is Llama 3 was released under a license where you have to pay them for a commercial license if you make a certain amount of revenue above a certain limit. The SAM model is open source under Apache license, which means anyone can do whatever they want with it. Um, they can't mention Meta or Facebook. So that's kind of get so the Apache license is you can do whatever you want. You have no guarantees. You can't complain to us if it doesn't work, and you agree to not use our names, either either the organization or the name of the product.
Does that mean that open source contributors will be adding to the model and improving on it?
So it's from my own bias experience, when it's Apache license, you get a lot more people playing with it, extending it, using it, doing cool stuff with it. Like if you look at all the web servers, all the cloud stuff, all of that is using either GPL license, Apache license, or BSD or MIT license. So like those are the most popular. And the one that is the most friendly towards businesses is Apache.
Okay, so the model should get better in terms of its not only performance, but what it's capable of doing. But then also there's some benefits just to the data sets too, right? With in terms of the crowd of people
Right.
tagging and doing whatnot. Explain a little bit the benefit to the community at large in terms of the data.
Well, so if you're using a model that was proprietary, you might have to worry about like, oh, are there going to be limits about how I use this? Because the data you create was derived from this tool. And so some people might be worrying cautious of that because okay, like are they going to come to me and say, well, no, you can't do this with the data that you created using our tool. Whereas if it's Apache, anyone can use it however they want. They can generate data however they want. They can create data sets however they want, and it's just open.
And they can
It's
tag them, which is kind of helpful too. So now we've got more intel because I think the data set that Meta you know, included the videos, I can't remember how many videos they said, but let's say it's 1,000. They, they're not labeling everything that they're masking, right? So if there's a ball, it's
Right.
just finding the edges and masking that. But it's not labeling that as a soccer ball, for example, right?
No, no. So really the real benefit is as more people build tools to use the sound model, there's going to be a growth in cool open data sets
Yeah.
that then they'll benefit because when there's more data sets, they can use that for their own training.
Very fun. Well, this is a great new exciting thing, especially that's connection to the open source community. Hopefully we'll see more of that. Peter, thank you. This is a good topic. For everybody out there, please like, subscribe, ask questions, and we will find more topics to share with you.